Welcome fans of Fate Grand Order. I am Avon, you are watching FGO Tips, and today we are concluding our talk on Nero Fest. We made it through the strongest, the brightest, the darkest, the numerous, the dragonist, the mother of all, and the oldest. Now it's time to face the finale. Lots to cover, so let's get to it. Grand Finale All-Out Battle features a single round of combat against 6 bosses representing 6 distinct classes. Each boss brings a unique effect when they enter the field, and another unique effect after they are defeated. First up is Jack with more than 110,000 hit points. Jack will cast buff success rate down 3 times on your party at the start of the fight. When you defeat Jack, she will add a 5k HP per turn regen to all allies for the rest of the battle. That includes the back line that hasn't entered the fight yet, and this can't be dispelled by any means. Along with her, you'll face Medea with 130,000 HP. At the start of the fight, she will poison your servants for 1000 HP per turn for 10 rounds. When you defeat Medea, she'll add a 50% defense buff to all of her allies, including the back line again. This can't be dispelled by any means either. And fighting along those two is Altria Alter with 155,000 hit points. Defeating her will add a buff to all of her remaining allies to gain 2 NP gauge charges per turn. This applies to the back line as well and cannot be removed. After you defeat any of the 3, Amakusa will step in to take their place. Amakusa comes with 96,000 hit points, and will start out by reducing the maximum HP of your entire party by 2k. If you can defeat him, he'll add a buff to all of his allies to increase their crit rate for the rest of the fight. Same deal, sub-members included, and it can't be removed. Next up is Ozzy with 165,000 hit points. When he enters the fight, he'll give himself a heal, attack, and defense bonus for 5 turns. And he's likely to spam buffs on the rest of the party each turn. After he's defeated, he will apply Sure Hit to his allies, rendering your future attempts to evade useless. And finally, filling the last spot is Nero herself, packing more than 250,000 hit points. She'll start the battle with Guts 3 times and cast Imperial Privilege each turn. If you manage to knock her out, she'll cast Guts on any of her allies left in the battle. Wow. Okay, that's a lot to cover. Let's start with some general guidance. The bonuses they confer upon death are non-removable, but many of their other buffs are not. Buffs like Imperial Privilege make it incredibly hard to effectively damage enemy servants, so bringing someone capable of wiping out those buffs is going to be hugely beneficial. In addition to purging their buffs, you'll probably want someone who can purge your own debuffs as well. Medea's poison, for example, will be especially painful if you can't clear it. And lastly, plan the order in which you take out enemy servants very carefully. Each time one of them dies, it changes the course of the rest of the battle. A very common recommendation, and one I'm going to agree with, is this order here. Start with Jack. The HP regen she gives to everyone shouldn't be too bad compared to the damage you'll be inflicting each turn. If you can do that quickly enough, try to focus on Amakusa next. The added crits are painful, but hopefully you'll be able to mitigate many of them with dodges and class advantage. Third up is going to be Altria Alter, as long as Jack didn't take too long to tackle. If it did take a while to finish off Jack, and Altria Alter is about to finish charging her NP, you might want to tackle her before Amakusa. Just be careful, because after she goes down, everyone is going to start gaining NP faster. You don't want to get hit with Amakusa's NP, which will remove all party buffs first, including Guts and Evasion, then deal massive damage to everyone. After the first 3, we move on to Ozzy. He spends a lot of time buffing the party, and we don't like that. Just remember that after he falls, you won't be able to rely on Evasion anymore. For the penultimate target, Nero should come next. Getting through all 3 of her lives is not too bad if you can ignore defense or remove her buffs. Try to use the same strategy as you did with Herc in the first exhibition. Avoid Brave Chains unless there's a Noble Phantasm in the middle, so you can try to knock her out multiple times in one round. And finally, Medea is all that stands in your way. Leaving her for last is difficult given her NP charging skill and the fact that she'll be hitting you with Rule Breaker the entire time. But it's a single target only NP and it won't debuff until after the damage is done. That means you can leverage things like Taunt, Defense Up, Evade, and Invincibility to weather the storm. And it's worth saving her for last because you don't want that defense buff on everyone for the rest of the fight. Now, when it comes to main damage dealers, it's hard to argue that Amakusa is going to be among the best servants to bring here. His AoE Noble Phantasm can clear debuffs from the entire enemy party, and his ruler class ensures that he will take half damage from 5 of the 6 classes we'll be up against. The only problem is that his AoE NP makes it tougher to kill specific servants in a specific order, and doesn't do as much damage as we'd like to the tougher bosses near the end. Emiya is another option for dealing damage, especially to later servants in this fight. If you bring him out after Altria Alter, you don't have to worry about him taking double damage from the Lancer anymore, and his class advantage against Nero will be useful. His NP is AoE also, but the ability to ignore defense is useful against the Imperial Privilege buff, and his evade helps him survive enemy NPs when they come. If you want to be a little more risky with it, Kintoki has a defense ignoring single target NP that will do berserker damage. Just be careful because he's going to take berserker levels of damage in return. If you want to be a little more conservative instead, Okita also has a single target defense ignoring Noble Phantasm, and luckily there are no enemy archers in this fight to worry about. Okita even has her own evade for when things get really messy. Proper support for this fight is going to be crucial, and Martha is actually one of my favorites here. Her miracle skill not only provides a party-wide heal, but also a party-wide debuff removal. This is something you'll be wanting from the very beginning of round 1 when Medea's poison debuff descends. Martha also has a useful self-heal, and Vow of the Saintess will serve double duty by removing enemy buffs like Imperial Privilege and dropping their defense for 3 turns. If you don't have access to Martha, Medea Lily is another possibility. She has even better healing, a skill to remove poison from the whole party, and an NP that removes all debuffs from the party. What she's lacking, unfortunately, is a way to debuff enemies or clear enemy buffs. Waver can help out here as well. His NP has a good chance to drop enemy defense, reduce their NP gauge, and stun. Additionally, he has amazing buffs for your own attack, defense, and NP gain. Tamamo also works reasonably well in Waver's place, thanks to her healing, arts buffing, and skill cooldown reduction. If you're having trouble staying alive long enough to finish the fight, servants like Mashu can help with defense buffs, invincibility, and taunt. This might be especially helpful when it comes to dealing with Medea's rule breaker over and over again. If you need a few more taunts, consider servants like Georgios and Deon. Both have 3-turn taunt, Georgios has guts, and Deon has a 1-turn evade. If you want to make them even more durable, consider CEs like Volumen Hydrogerum, which will grant them invincibility for 3 attacks. Keeping one of them in your backline gives you the chance to swap them in and taunt whenever you need a few turns to catch your breath. Put all that together, and you'll be ready to claim your summon ticket and crystallized lore in no time. Congratulations, Nero Fest champions out there! And good luck to those of you still working your way through. Since we're fighting such a wide variety of classes this time around, the options for team comps are a bit more varied as well. Really curious to hear what worked out best for you, so definitely let me know when you do make it through. Enjoy the rest of your Nero Fest, good luck farming medals, good luck farming petals, and most of all, thanks for watching.